I am in my 30s. I live in Europe. So basically, right now, I am thinking a lot about hellfire. I watched some of your videos. Pascal's wager is a thing that never left my head since I heard about it. So yeah, I am struggling with my belief and I'm trying to hold onto it, but I'm not sure why, you know. It's a lot of it is guilt, a lot of it is fear. But on the other side, I'm very I learned a lot about cognitive biases and how human brains works. The more I learn about that, the more it feels to me like religion, any kind of religion, is a tool to control and manipulate masses of people.
I'm sorry you're going through that. It's not easy to be in that position. So finish
Yeah.
the thought to its conclusion. Why do you fear hell? What do you think that God will take you to hell because of your actions? Then are you going to change your actions, or are you going to accept your fate? Um, let's think about it in terms of scales. From on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you believe that Islam is the truth?
0 to 10, it's gotta be definitely under 5. And I think it's 3.
How
Yeah.
much of that 3 out of 10? What led you to that number?
Obviously, the fact that we really do not know what's happening after we die. And other than that, to be honest, I don't know.
And you also mentioned fear and guilt. Do they factor into that number?
Yes, definitely they do. Most of it is fear and guilt.
So let's think about it. So it's a 3 out of 10 in your
Yeah.
on your belief scale. Most of it
Yeah.
is fear and guilt, and then also the fact that we don't know the origin of the universe or the origin of life and all these answers. Um,
Yeah.
because my goal here is not necessarily to get you to a 0, but let's explore it both ways. If you wanted to make your faith a 10, how would you supplement those reasons? How do you either amplify their significance, or follow them to get even more reassurance, or introduce new reasons? How would you get to a 10 if possible?
By getting answers to questions that I wasn't able to get answers to. For example, good people who are not religious going to hell. Obviously, in process of meeting my soon-to-be wife, I met her parents and I met her, and they're all amazing people. It's hard to believe that these people who never hurt anyone just did their thing and enjoyed their lives without harming anyone. Why would they go to hell? And if this question, for example, would be answered to me with a clear cut explanation, then maybe it would move the needle a little bit towards stand. And also other things that are maybe a bit medieval, like beating your wife. These need to be resolved in order for me to gain more belief.
So if you get answers to your questions that are convincing, your faith would increase closer to that 10 number.
Yes, yes.
And if you were to try to go the opposite direction, what would you do, or what would you need to get that number from 3 to 0? Like, to remind you of your reasons why it's a 3, you've got fear and guilt and the fact that we don't know the answers to the universe.
I think if I would just get rid of the fear, like I don't feel like I need reasons. I just need get rid of the fear. And guilt, I'm full disclosure, I'm in therapy and working on that. And uh, fear is something that I guess I would have to get rid of it for it to be 0.
In terms of what you can do to get rid of the fear, like I said, I do have a video talking about that, or what got me out of that fear. But it sounds to me like if you find the answers to the questions, or if you seek the answers to the questions that would get you closer to a 10, best case scenario, I mean, both ways is going to be a best case scenario. Either it's going to get you closer to a 10 or closer to a 0. Either of that is better than being stuck in the middle and struggling with it and having the fear being in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that is actually true. And it encourages me to actually think about it, because before that it was obviously it's uncomfortable to think about it because it's not a good place to be, and bringing it up in my conscious mind is not comfortable, so I kind of buried it down. But having this motivation of wanting to move the needle either direction is helping me, I think, to get it out of my subconscious and get it into the conscious brain. Thank you very much for this perspective that I never thought about.
Of course.
Hello, you and the audience. I'm Haseeb. I would classify myself as a practicing believer in Islam, alhamdulillah. I'm not scholarly educated or anything like that. My brother watches the stream and he's asked me to join. He's a little bit more leaning towards less belief, and he thought it would be an interesting conversation.
Do you think we have free will in heaven?
There's an interesting, I guess you could call it, thought exercise that I've heard referenced before, where they say if you spend your life following the rules that Allah laid out, for example, you don't murder anyone, you're kind to people, you believe in Allah as the one single, indivisible, infinite creator, you can do what you want in heaven because you've struggled against your desires in this life, and that will be the reward afterwards. So I've heard, I'm not sure if this is true, I'm not a scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but I've heard that even people with a tendency to do those things would be able to in heaven. But the counter to that is that the kind of person that enters heaven probably isn't the kind of person that does these atrocities. Does that answer your question?
Not quite. I mean, because it's not necessarily about atrocities. I mean,
Mhm.
imagine this not that harmful, but still kind of harmful prank. A friend runs from behind you and pulls your pants down, right? Like, is that haram? Probably yes. Is it this person deserves to go to hell forever? Haram? Probably not. So, say someone has a tendency to do this and is a good Muslim and a good person and then goes to heaven. Do they have the free will to do that in heaven?
Yeah, I guess they would. Allah alim. I'm not sure about a believer going to hell for eternity either. You mentioned there. As far as I'm aware, um, every believer who um, doesn't commit shirk would leave the hellfire eventually. They will be purified through that process.
But if someone's a disbeliever but not a polytheist, they have a better chance
Yep.
of going to heaven than a polytheist.
If Allah blesses you with His mercy, then inshallah you'll get there.
Right, but I mean, we're talking about shirk, right? Is the one thing that is unforgivable. And you're saying unless someone commits shirk, so whether they're a Muslim or a non-believer, hell is not eternal for them, except for people who commit shirk.
As in somebody who's, I guess you could say, actively in disbelief from the
I
believer's
wouldn't say that.
perspective.
Yeah, because what does actively in disbelief mean? I mean, are you actively in disbelief of Christianity right now?
Yeah, I am. I don't believe it's the correct
No, but are you
outlook.
actively in disbelief of the truth of Christianity, or you just don't believe?
No, I think we're delving into semantics here for the case of this
No, because I think
this
it's
discussion.
important. It's an important distinction. I mean, actively in disbelief implies some kind of active conscious choice.
Yeah,
Like, are you choosing to believe
yeah,
in
of
Christianity,
course.
or Islam makes more sense to you? That's why you believe in Islam.
Well, Islam makes more sense to me, so I choose to believe in Islam.
Right, but you're not choosing to disbelieve in Christianity despite
Well,
it
I would
being
say
truthful.
inherently you are. If you know enough about Christianity, by choosing Islam over Christianity, you're saying Christianity probably isn't the correct one. Islam probably is.
You're choosing based on what seems more true or more convincing, not
Hmm.
by actively choosing despite the truthfulness of Christianity.
Yeah, of course, there's a distinction there. You could actively say, no, 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 everything else is wrong, Islam is the only one that's right. But you could pose the argument you don't know enough about those other situations, perhaps, things like that. But that all comes down to kind of practicality, I would say. As far as I'm aware, current day self, I would say Islam is the truth above Christianity. And coming back to the disbeliever versus believers in hellfire, there's a couple of hadiths of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that mention a disbeliever, their heart will know that that Islam is correct, but other aspects of humanness will deny that truth, and that's what disbelief is. Because everybody's born with this inner fitra, which tells them
Wait,
that
that's
Allah is one.
but do you feel about Christianity the way you just described a disbeliever feels about Islam? Not Christianity, some other non-Abrahamic religion.
So if we chose like Buddhism, for example.
Yeah, so do you believe in Buddhism, your heart believes in it, but you have human reasons why you don't follow it?
No, I would say I actively disbelieve in Buddhism. I don't
Actively
believe
disbelieve? Like,
yes, I don't believe it gives an accurate representation of reality,
like,
as far as I know about Buddhism.
okay, let me phrase it to you this way. If you look at the sky and it looks blue, and you tell me the sky
Yes.
is orange, you're actively
Yes.
disbelieving in the blueness of the sky. Like that is a defined position that is opposing to the reality
Funny,
that
man.
what's that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
But yeah, you would be actively disbelieving in reality if you said that the sky and believed the sky was red when you can see it as blue.
right. Like in that scenario, you have some reason why you're saying it's red when it's not. But you acknowledge on some level that it's blue. You just choose to
Yep.
say other than the truth. That would be active disbelief, I suppose. Is
Yes.
that something that you're doing about Buddhism right now?
Well, it depends what's true. I believe Islam is true. I couldn't really actively disbelieve another reality. There's only one reality.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You don't believe in Buddhism, not because despite it being the truth, you have other reasoning. It's because you are convinced it's not the truth.
Hi. So, I just wanted to come on and say, thank you for having your channel. I am an ex-Muslim myself. I was raised in the faith, and it's been really tough coming out as an apostate, and having like channels like yours be on this platform really kind of just you know sharing your thoughts on Islam, and really, I wouldn't say like you're very very graceful with your answers. You're very considerate. You're very thoughtful on your responses, and I find that to be very commendable. And I just wanted to say thank you, really, and to just show some love. And it's really nice to see someone like as yourself being out there and taking that risk, because I know it is a huge risk to do something like this. And yeah, just wanted to say thank you.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me, and I appreciated that you waited so long just to say that. But I'm not very good at taking compliments, but I truly do appreciate it. You guys really have no idea how much all these little contributions do help. Because of you guys, I'm able to do this. Because of you guys, I took that plunge, and because of you guys, I'm here. So I really appreciate it. And I just wanted to say thank you again to all the volunteers, to all the patrons, YouTube members, callers, attendees of the live stream, people who watch after the fact. I appreciate every single one of you. And without my supporters, I would not be here. And I'm thankful for that.